Sup team, I apologize, but I don't have much of an introduction here. I don't exactly know what to say about the most prolific Undertale AU of all time, Underswap by Popcorn Prince. I don't know what I could say that hasn't already been said. Everybody swaps with somebody. That's how it goes. You know how it goes. Sans, Papyrus, Asgore, Toriel. It's what's on the box. And the box has damn good food inside, with takes like Team Switched, Absolute Zero, Shares, Junboys, and the absolute truckload of Underswap megalovanias like Reanimation, Striking the Demon Down, etc. There's an Underswap for everybody. That's not to say it's a one-size-fits-all AU, but an all-sizes-fits literally everybody AU. Like spray-on shoes type AU. I say that, but many takes do end up doing the same things. In particular, the same swaps. That isn't to say I dislike any of them, but many people have gotten tired of the same swaps done in the same way. It's hard to make a lot of the original ones work well, too. The most oddball original swaps have to be Temmie to Flowey and Monster Kid to Asriel. Of course, lots of takes can and have done these very, very well, but since they are kind of an awkward swap in nature, they're prone to get shafted in favor of others. This sadly makes lots of takes' characters feel not as well-rounded as Undertale's, which especially hurts ones that are trying to be as close to Undertale as possible. What to do about such a problem? Break the mold. Disregard the old blueprints and make your own. It seems so simple now that Tory Fox's Underswap is complete, but it took a year's worth of work to get right. Genuinely a year, by the way. I am coincidentally writing the script on Tory Swap's anniversary. This is the second time this has happened. I should be a palm reader or something. Again, reworking who gets swapped who seems so simple, but lots of takes are afraid to do it, and rightfully so. Shit's hard. Especially with how picky the Undertale SoundCloud community can get. Rearranging any parts of a classic AU like Underswap is like walking on a tightrope with a giant gray Sharpie path underneath you. I'm on some kind of tightrope. Not only does Tory Fox's take address the role swapping concern, it innovates upon what a swap take can do as a whole by swapping the entire freaking universe. Yeah. New Homestuck, kind of. New Earthbound, new game that is totally up for $2 on Steam. Tory Fox has got it all. Also, just to preface very quickly, Tory Fox is like a stage name. The take is spearheaded by Lexi Mao. Tory Fox is not real. Sorry to burst your bubbles too soon. Lex is super duper alley-ooper talented, and you should 100% check out their work, Undertale or not. You gotta dig into this. I can feel the swapping in my veins. Literally. Something fishy's going on. Ferb, what do you think? Huh? You're not Ferb. Yes, I am, bro. Whoa. Are you some kind of swap? Is something really, really wrong, Ferb? Oh my god. My heart, Ferb, my heart feels. Why do I feel so Egyptian?
Hey fellas, lights in here. Oh god. Wait.
No. Wait.
Hey fellas, I'm Cowboy.
Hey. I'm not even done yet. Just wait your turns, goddammit. Sorry about that. Them's my friends. They want to be here too. Not in a, oh, they want a piece of the pie type of way. We just all love Tory Fox's Underswap and want to give our 2 cents. With that, substituting glaze for praise, we can begin. This is the best Underswap take. I don't got a flashier heading. Just straight facts. The thing you'll notice the most about this take is how weird it can get. Not weird in a bad way, just weird in the sense of the word. That becomes apparent in just the second track, titled What's Your Name? By the way, I will forever stand by not making summary slop, y'all know that, so this won't be a beat-by-beat retelling of Tory Fox. If you want that, then go listen to the OST on SoundCloud. It got fully completed recently, and SoundCloud takes are the easiest fan content to consume, in my opinion. Some are. You can just put it on while you're taking a walk or something. That's what I did. Anyway, what's your name? There's already so much to unpack here. This is a perfect example of what I mean when I say Tory Fox ain't afraid to get weird. Look at this kid, dude. They are fucked up. But it still feels right. Almost every design feels like this. Asgore, Papyrus, Sans, everybody has a complete redesign, the most unique ones I've ever seen, yet they are still faithful to the original characters from Undertale. Tory Fox understands how Undertale's character design worked with how readable they are. In Undertale, you can tell Papyrus is the goofy one, you can tell Toriel is the mother figure, and you can tell Asgore is this weight-bearing monarch. Tory Fox uses other prominent traits from these characters to make completely new designs that still feel right at home. Rather than an intimidating, brooding stance, Underswap Asgore's design leans into his calm, kinder side. Underswap Papyrus's leans into the objective idea of his coolness rather than his humor, making him look like a nonchalant frat guy, which he obviously isn't. Sans's design takes after what's left of his passionate side. You get the gist. It's easily the smartest way to do these designs I've ever seen, and it's the secret sauce that makes them click. We're still talking about the second track. You see that name up there? Asriel? Asriel, yeah. That's the true name. Asriel and Chara swap in this take, not Chara and Frisk. Doesn't that just feel obvious when I say it out loud? It clearly isn't, since most takes follow the original Monster Kid to Asriel swap, but this is just right. This is just right. But you may be asking then, who does Frisk swap with? Doesn't that make a whole new issue? Nah. This is still Frisk, just a different Frisk. That's all. The main protagonist's name is still Frisk. What issue could there even be if you just don't care? I swear we won't move this slow the entire time. We're now moving into, drum roll please, track number 3. God. Rest in Peace also just happens to be the best Your Best Friend replacement I've ever heard, because it's a completely different vibe, opting to sound somber. It almost sounds confusing, considering you encounter this tombstone that has such a different vibe than even just the naming screen right after. The track is able to achieve this because, again, Tory Fox ain't afraid to be new. The signature Tammy Flowey swap has been removed in favor of Chara's personality taking center stage throughout the entire game. There isn't some kind of fake personality for Gem Vine's Thorn's Chara to take on because there's no real reason for it. That's another thing that I adore about Tory Fox. It doesn't worry about fulfilling certain Underswap quote-unquote requirements if there's just not a reason for it. I think the best example of this is the Bone Trouser replacement, Bone Breaker. Listen to this. Using anything that even remotely sounds like Megalovania outside of the Megalovania replacement for these takes can get you crucified because of how quote-unquote generic it is. But please, I implore you, think about it for a second. Think about it. It had to be used a lot to become generic, and it had to be a good-ass idea to be used that much in the first place. So what's the harm in doing it again? Using it like this loops back around into being genius. Now, when I was this early into listening to Tory Fox, it truthfully took me a while to get invested. It was obviously cool. I've been a fan of Lex's work for a long time and appreciate anything they put out, but it took until the Waterfall replacement for everything to click like it does now. We will get there later. The best example of when I was very skeptical about this take is Spirit Encounter, the Ghost Fight replacement. Already we have another unique swap. The dummies swap with Napstablook and Metaton. So the tutorial dummy becomes Napstablook, Mad Dummy / Mew Mew becomes Metaton, and vice versa. I love this idea now, but the idea paired with the song felt very odd to me at first. I think Gloomshade's design is still my least favorite, but especially just starting out, I thought, like, what's the point? What's going on here? Why are we swapping outside the mold? This feeling carried through into Bereavement, Asgore's Heartache. This was the first real banger in the soundtrack for me, but I just didn't get the point of the characters being how they were. It was like, oh, cool. He's different. It's Underswap. Of course he's going to be different. What makes Tory Fox's differences so different? After Asgore, we meet Papyrus, who has a really good song that you've heard me use in every outro ever since I first heard it. His design is peak. Totally peak. Same for Sans's. But everything still didn't really click for me. I could tell it was getting there, but I still felt like I was waiting for some kind of quote-unquote good part. My good buddy Lights in here got into things a lot faster than I did, though. He's the reason I began to actually care about Tory Fox at this point in my journey, so it's only fair that he tells you about the Skelebros.
What makes a good Undertale AU? Is it the potential to explore the different possibilities of the underground? Getting to see new sides of the large cast, both major and minor? The music? The new mechanics? Wrong! It's Sans and Papyrus! Woo! Yeah, I love Sans and Papyrus! I love them so much! I love the Skelebros, Charlie! I love the Skelebros! First, the designs. Obviously, you have the swap color palettes of each character, with Papyrus wearing his cap. He still looks and feels like a cool dude, trademark, but notice his eyes. He has Sans' eyes, giving him a more mysterious undertone fitting for his character. Sans has been given something that I have never seen before with any Underswap AU. He looks goofy as he does, with how Papyrus' sprite looks goofy, but Lex decided to give him the anchor arms. What?
I was a wimp before anchor arms. Now I'm a jerk and everybody loves me.
Another thing is that he has a wrestling belt to signify him being the champion of the MWE. Get it? And it's part of the Royal Guard in this universe, showing that while he's a lot more serious in this AU, he still has that goofy Sans side that we all know and love. Both Sans and Papyrus swap in this AU as Papyrus loses interest in the Royal Guard due to Undyne stepping down from her position as the leader of that, and Sans, feeling more confident in himself, decides to join it. More on that later, but now we gotta talk about Snowdin! It swaps with itself. Yeah, Snowdin Town and the rural snowy area swap with each other. That's pretty interesting, all things considered. Usually in other swap takes, they change it to either Snowdin and Hotland swap, the hot swaps with the cold, or they change the season entirely. While I prefer that approach more, I don't mind this either. You go from this cheery small town to this more rural area that's still populated but not as cheery. I find that to be pretty interesting. I've never seen that before. Obviously, you have to fight Sans at the end of the Snowdin Town equivalent area, and the reason for doing so is pretty sweet. He just wants to make Papyrus and Alphys proud because that's all he's got, and I find that to be pretty cool. You go, Sans. Fun fact, the old version of this thumbnail had the orange soul instead of the blue soul. For some reason it changed, I don't know why.
Jumping in real quick, it's because they didn't want to have to worry about making new soul modes that lived up to Undertales.
And then of course after the date you get to hang out with Sans at not Griglia's apparently. And this is where an interesting tidbit comes in. The universal dating theme in this AU isn't a variation of the Snowdin theme like the original Undertale, but rather the It's Raining Somewhere Else motif due to the underground's more somber tone. Society in this AU is unstable, and there's a lot of signs of that you'll see later on.
The dating theme is indeed really freaking good. I finally started to get it after lunch break and the dating X replacements that ensued. They just felt so Sans. But it wasn't just Undertale Sans, it was his passionate side, as I previously mentioned. That's when what I was just talking about earlier really hit me, with Papyrus looking like a frat guy and stuff. Understanding these design and character choices made me very excited out of nowhere, and the feeling carried over into Magma Drop, Tory Fox's Waterfall. Right out the gate, the Royal Guards are the ones talking to us, not Alphys. My excitement was in full swing when I heard Magma Drop, man. Everything that I understood about this take with the character designs was now translated into everything. Magma Drop uses patience as a leitmotif, which is an unfinished Toby Fox song that was for Homestuck, but later repurposed into another medium for Hotland. This sounds like an obvious idea for an Underswap Hotland inspired area, and it is, but again, just like everything up until now, it was such a good idea that so many people used it and it got labeled as too generic. So when Tory Fox just dropped the best Patience remix of all time, you can imagine how gobsmacked I was. Not only does this loop back around to being super smart as many takes are too afraid of getting generic, quote unquote, this song is just really damn good. This is peak walking to class music, man, I'm telling you. When you gotta do a 25-minute walk in 10, Tory Fox always comes in clutch. Gotta also give credit where it's due really quickly. Kylie Everwood made absolutely gorgeous art for Magma Drop's thumbnail. Look at this, man. It's an even closer shot of the castle than Undertale. Beautifully illuminated by all of the environment's lava. Concepts like these are how you get people really into SoundCloud takes. My brain makes this move like a full cutscene whenever I just look at it for a little bit. Masterful. It also made me appreciate Frisk's design a whole lot more because holy aura, dude. I already mentioned Heart to Heart, the memory swap, but Chara's characterization in Tory Swap is incredible. There are 3 different variations of their dialogue here for all 3 major routes. In neutral, they seem indifferent about you in almost a judgmental way. That's because a major part of Chara's character is their love for monster kind, paired with their own self-hatred as a human. If you're in pacifist, Chara says that you are, quote, one and the same for this reason, and in genocide, they go all in on judging you. All with spooky ambience in the back. Now, I know I said the take really clicked for me with Magma Drop. While that is true, it's only partially so. It took just a little bit more to get me truly in love with this take, and Robo Dummy did just that. This song is insane, and it was the first insane one to me since lunch break. I think it hit so hard because it completely undid my gripes with Gloomshade's spirit encounter. I could really feel Robo Dummy's character oozing out of this track, and for the first time, I really cared. And that's crazy considering this is the only track relating to Robo Dummy. And this care that I had was directly carried over into Gloomshade's hangout training sesh afterwards. I even cared about my least favorite character now. That's impressive. Now. Alphys. Alphys's battle track is Lissai. Sadly just a spear of justice go.
As much as possible.
Psych, no. Y'all thought Tory Fox would miss? No! They went back and gave Alphys a completely custom fight theme, Blades of Justice. And you know what? It's one of the best, most intense tracks in the OST. It was released after I had finished what there was of the soundtrack at the time, but believe me, this made me care about Alphys so much. The official website for Tory Fox, which has a cast list, says that Alphys has her guards do most of the confrontation out of cowardice. Think Team Switch underswaps Alphys with her fake accent to look cool. Tory Fox's Alphys, quote-unquote, puts up a persona of someone who leads and is strong to save face. Blades of Justice perfectly conveys this by treating Alphys's flaws with dignity. When I first heard this track, I got 0 hints of her cowardice. What I got was a coordinated and focused Alphys using her units to her advantage, which means that if this were to be an actual full game, that same illusion would hypothetically work on a player. Many takes make it very clear that Alphys is putting up a farce, and while that can work, just let the woman have her aura. Her guards don't overshadow her in this battle either. You just gotta get through them to target Alphys with Yellow Soul's bullets. God damn it, man, it's good. So much justice for Alphys' character. Love to see it. That's all I gotta say on Alphys for now, besides that her design is definitely one of the more uncanny ones. I don't know, I still like it. But with that,
after battling Alphys and her guard, we arrive at the Hotland equivalent area, Frostbite. This area is the swap out Hotland in the sense that it's all frozen, cause Frostbite. Get it? Frisk then encounters a lab, and they enter it. And then we meet Undyne, and she looks weird as heck. Okay. I have to admit that while she does look different, her and Alphys looking the most different from the original designs in the entire cast, except Robo Dummy, her design has a reason to look like that. Maybe for some people, particularly the ones stuck at home, that has already become obvious, but she's based on Mina. This is because while Alphys in Undertale was based on John Egbert with her glasses and design, Tory's Undyne takes her look and white eyes from Mina. Just like the others from the cast so far, she retains her Undertale personality, but as she introduced herself in the dialogue of her theme song, she made a clear distinction. She's the Underground's royal scientist, not Toriel's. Why is that? Well, let's just say that Toriel in this universe ain't the best at taking care of her kingdom, and that will cause some very dire consequences later on. Undyne here is part of the monster kind rebellion against Toriel. In fact, she's the leader, as her bio on the Neo City says. She still does experiments, but just without royalty supervision. But in the meantime, she's also a talent agent. But for who, you might say? Mew Mew, or better said, Nyamako, appears. And Man, just listen to her theme song, man. Just listen to it. With her intro sounding like an anime opening, while also being built like a lucky cat on her box form, Nyamako, instead of a celebrity full of glamour and showbiz like the original Metaton, she's an idol instead. You know, the Kasane tattoos, the Katsune Mikus, that kind of jazz the kids are hip with. But what changes in her? Well, her structure in her OST appearances are just like Metaton's. Not much changes there. The quiz show becomes a card game in which Undyne tells you when to pull the big win by flashing her glasses. The news segment becomes playing Janken Train with her, a Japanese children's game like rock, paper, scissors, which she gets really mad if she loses, as she's used to. Roops has more to say on the matter. Giving it back to you, King.
Y'all get the gist. Thanks, Big Cap. If Magma Drop got me invested and Robo Dummy got me hooked, then Nyamako got me in a total flow state for this AU. I was excited to see what random stuff she would pull next, just like with Metaton and Vanilla Undertale. Y'all gotta understand, by the way, how difficult that is for a SoundCloud AU to do. And you know what? Between Nyamako's hijinks, you hear another banger through the medium. I want to bring up the stunning art again. I sadly don't know who made this art of the stream Underswap's core, but it's even more beautiful than Magma Drop. This is how you get people invested in this shit, man. Even the name of this track is super interesting. The medium implies that this is directly other to Undertale. These parallels just keep stacking up. With that, we have reached another unavoidable swapping problem. What to do with the Kickstarter OC monsters? In particular, what to do with Muffet and So Sorry. Usually it's Muffet to Grillby, but Grillby's already been established as somebody new, and So Sorry is rarely even thought of. Tory Fox once again makes the answer seem so simple though. Just make new OC monsters. Dolly replaces Muffet, and why does Seek, the So Sorry replacement, have one of the top 5 tracks in the whole damn take? Why did the composers go so hard for So Sorry, dog? Oh, it's their job. Shut up. What the shit? And just 2 tracks later, we get another grand spanking banger with My True Rage. How do we keep doing this, dude?
It's Raining Somewhere Else is one of, if not my favorite track in Undertale. This somber, quiet piece describes this other side of Sans that we never got to see until now, and it's part of the reason why so many people fell in love with his character. Usually the Underswap replacements get quite creative with this track, as it's a very important scene for this character. You have Bob Liner replacing the rain with a fireplace, Sheraswap making it a more relaxed version of the OG Papyrus date. The Low Exchange does a very unique thing of making Papyrus hype up this moment, and it builds up into a crescendo. Truly great stuff. Here, however, it's a lot more sinister. There was an original thumbnail for this song where Papyrus is actually facing forward instead of to the side, and he looks like he is staring into your soul. Meanwhile here, he's a lot more chill. Like the original Undertale, he talks about how far you've come and how you've become great friends, while also discussing his conversations with Asgore. Here, however, it's framed a lot more differently, as Papyrus is talking about his frustrations with Undyne resigning from the Royal Guard, and Asgore motivating him to keep pushing forward, a conversation which reinforced his beliefs in believing in others, such as you, making this neat parallel of character between Asgore and Papyrus. Character writing in this AU is very good.
And so we enter the Spire. It's called the Spire. Not a stream. At the time of me recording this, which was like a month ago, the original, when it was called the stream, it was taken down by a copyright troll because SoundCloud copyright shucks ass. Now it's called the Spire. Everything I'm about to say applies to the Spire. Just even better, because it's better than the stream. Duh. Using the unfinished extended power of Neo as a leitmotif rocks. Not much else to say though. Speaking of Neo, a Neo body, one to finally fuse with. Will this be my new life? Papyrus, turn on the TV. Doesn't matter the channel. The human's on, bro.
What? The human? On where? Oh my god! That's the human! That's the human! That's the human, son! It's the human!
That's what I said. That is what I said.
It's the human! Holy shit! It's the human! Oh my god! Sans, oh, you know what time it is?
I don't know what time it is.
It's time to get Sandy, Sans! Let's get Sandy!
I ain't getting Sandy, bro.
Let's get Sandy, Sans! Yeah!
I would if I could, bro. I would if I could.
Yeah, look at you. Yeah. Yes.
Nyamako EX is an awesome expansion of Mad Dummy's whole plotline with Mad Mew Mew. The stage is completely set. Nyamako is completely ticked off by the human, and with the largest audience she's ever had, including Papyrus hitting his own interpretive frat flick. Paired with her new powers, it's prime time for her to fuse with the body of her dreams. Like Mad Dummy, that's all she's wanted all along. Obviously, she does want fame and fortune, but it's really to fuse. It's really to make Gloomshade proud. While Gloomshade and Nyamako's dynamic is basically just snaps to look at Metatons, it's how everything concludes on the whole that I really love. Through the performance, you've helped Nyamako finally find herself. She doesn't need to be any certain way, she doesn't need to be angry, she doesn't need this to be her last performance, and she doesn't need to be anybody but herself, fusing or not. All she's gotta do is what she wants to do. And that's giving the underground something to look forward to when times are gray. Especially now, with how absent a leader Toriel is. Monsters need a Nyamako to put on the television when they get home from work. Strife is monster kind's fatal flaw. Day in, day out, they cannot seem to catch a break, whether they realize it or not. Their history is just like Undertale's. But the key difference in Underswap is that Azrael struck back. Azrael could not bear taking the blows and lashed out, causing humans to drop like flies, blinding them. He could not keep this up. Suffering a fatal blow, Azrael could only make it back to Ebit's peak before becoming dust in the wind. With this came the separation of the siblings' bodies and souls. Chara was launched down into the capital, unto its garden. This tragedy had the same effect as Undertale's, but much more severe. Tory Fox's Toriel is characterized by her fear of change, leading to self-isolation that she believes is for the better. She has trapped herself in this destructive cycle of blaming herself while believing she knows what's best for her people. Instead of reflecting and growing, she would rather acknowledge the cruelties of the world and shut herself in, effectively alongside the entire underground. She treats her people how she treated Frisk in Undertale, just on a massive scale. But
We can all change. All it takes is just a little push. Well, even though I don't think you don't have to. It's up to you to be the change you want to see in the world. I said it before, but I believe in you, human. Keep your head high.
Toriel has never had a living human set foot in her throne room. Not since Chara. Monsters are instructed to leave any souls collected in caskets just outside. Toriel cannot bear to do the deed herself. Ironic, considering her stance on how Asgore handled the souls in Undertale. Toriel's battle makes an incredibly important distinction for her character. In Undertale, Asgore, quote, knows what's best for his people. Yet here, Toriel simply, quote, knows what's best for you. Even now, after so long, Toriel cannot break the cycle she has set upon herself. It bars her from knowing what's actually best for her people, and if she made an effort to change, maybe there wouldn't be an underground revolution. Yet she is driven by fear. Fear that if anything is to change, if any piece is to fall from the tower, the entire underground collapses. She has shut herself in for so long that she fails to realize that the underground is already crumbling on account of her inaction. Transparency would go a long way for her people, but speeches have incited war. Toriel has many strong beliefs. She wants to do so much, and in the past has said such, but she is unable to act upon her words. It's too late for her to go back on that now. What would it look like if she suddenly came out of the shadows? Would that not stir her people into a frenzy like it always has? But the underground cannot last in anarchy. Something has to change. and the human can make Toriel realize that. Hate, fear, sadness, loneliness. What do all of these have in common? They are strong emotions. They are sober emotions. They are me. Good Lord, what is happening in there? Chara is back. They're somehow leagues above Toriel in thinking they know what's best. Humanity has been so cruel to monster kind. For what? Violence breeds violence. What must be done shall be done. They deserve this. They need this. Whatever hell rests upon humanity's shoulders is by their design, a complex web of only terrible sin, ensnaring them in a timeless labyrinth of back and forth sorrow, yet they built the walls. They deserve to realize their fate. Chara has the absolute advantage in this fight. Unlike Flowey, you never get the edge. Even during true character, Underswap's finale, it isn't Chara's defense that drops to 0 in some final act of defiance from you or the souls. No. Your defense drops to 0, and true character becomes this desperate attempt to stay alive. It also has penumbra phantasm because, sure, it's peak. It's peak. I genuinely don't know how you win this fight. I'm assuming you do, as the pacifist route has to continue somehow. No, you lose. You get your ass beaten terribly. Even if you do win, which you don't at all, I'm assuming death is victory in some way. It is the only escape from everything going down. The only escape from all that humanity has done. A fitting way to defeat Chara. But we obviously aren't done. During Papyrus's neutral ending phone call, very interesting events take place. Everybody seemingly reverts back to their normal Undertale roles. That isn't to say they straight up become their counterparts, but they're ripped out of their swapped roles. Asgore becomes the king, Sans retires from the guard while Papyrus reapplies, Alphys becomes royal scientist again while Undyne becomes the guard's captain. You get the gist. Once again, Tory Fox treads the line between Underswap and Undertale. That line will only continue to get thinner. The point of the neutral ending is to instill hope, not only unto the monsters, but also unto you after a nigh unwinnable fight. While Asgore does state that all humans who fall will die, he does actively want peace and makes that public. Papyrus claims that because of the human, the underground is starting to change their mind to become more receptive towards humanity. There. That right there is our objective for the true pacifist ending. Prove to monster kind that there is good on the surface and within themselves. Prove Chara wrong. We not only are going back to get a better ending, but we have a specific goal in mind for attaining that ending. Log number 1. If the Queen won't take action, I will. The big post-neutral area, the true lab, is replaced by the Sunken March. This is easily my favorite area, one of my favorite themes. Sunken March is absurdly underrated, but that's besides the point. Undyne has always been for the people. She's the leader of the rebellion after all. Toriel's inaction makes her furious. Toriel won't break the barrier, and the barrier won't break itself. Its mechanical whirs motivate Undyne even more. She needs to find a solution. She will be monster kind's true hope. Tory Fox makes a clever use of Undyne's character through the march, specifically with Undyne the Undying. She not only wishes to make monsters immortal, but she specifically wants them to come back after death in the same fashion as her Undying form did in Undertale. but this forces her to use even more gruesome methods than Alphys did in Undertale. Undyne specifically chooses Royal Guard members who are falling down. If all goes well, she can achieve a monster immortality and create super soldiers to defeat humanity. 2 birds, 1 stone. But we know how this story goes.
If humans can persist after death, then monsters should too. I don't care anymore. I'm going to inject them all again. We will be undying.
The Neo soldiers patrol the march, obeying orders that come from no one. The determination has caused them to melt inside or with their own armor, and their minds are gone. They were made to be super soldiers, and super soldiers they have become. An area filled with all of Undyne's rage and regrets is incredibly fitting as things come to a head during the final Toriel encounter. Asgore steps in and stops the fight, just like Toriel does in Undertale. Yet, there's no cheery fallen down reprise type track, because this is not a cheery scene. Right behind him is a massive mob led by Undyne. The rebellion has begun, and they have been here the whole time. The human has shown that change is attainable, but that change requires action, and Toriel has proven unwilling to take any. Monster kind must put their fate in their own hands. Weapons drawn, they prepare to seize the throne. The final rising action of Tory Fox's Underswap is, as it has always been, strife. Someone else has also been here. They've already been here the whole time. Chara has taken notice of the controversy you have caused and is livid. Everything has been a lie. You aren't similar at all. Every human is the same, and Chara is an idiot for assuming anything else. Yet at the same time, Chara believes they are no better. Our punishment will be watching as Chara eradicates them all. According to them, violence is all humanity will ever know. And Chara is human, and they hate themselves for it. Just as all the other tales as old as time, monster kind will inevitably suffer a red crimson death. Chara just keeps on paralleling Toriel in an even more drastic way. Now that the world itself is in their hands, destiny can unfold as it's supposed to. They know best. They're only human, after all. The way Chara is written in Tory Fox's Underswap is the best take of their character I've ever seen, period. They hate humanity so much, and that extends to themselves, playing off of their possible self-loathing in Undertale. Just like with all other designs, this reflects in theirs the hardest. They have become a demon. Quote, the demon that comes when you call its name has been completely recontextualized for Underswap Chara's character. They don't inherently represent a force of evil, they just gave that title to themselves as they believe they are deserving of such. They believe they are that evil. Red Crimson Death Chara's design is very careful to be the most humanoid design in the take, and while that may sound obvious considering we literally play as the human, Chara has the proportions of a real human here, like you and me, at least in stature. Their hands probably hurt a little bit, yet Chara is crumbling. Just like with Flowey's killer be killed mentality, cracks evidently form in Chara's thinking. It wouldn't be perfect, after all. Nobody can be, let alone a child. I mean, you can't get much more dramatic than the call of Satan's shrine.
Then Satan rises from hell, sitting on a throne in its shrine, and with its heart beating, brings the earth to her final breath.
In total contrast to what I just said, Chara has now become inhuman. They have turned into a confusing, mortifying being beyond our comprehension. I love this for their character because it's such a smart way to highlight their flaws. Are they really an example of how terrible humanity can be? Or do they hate themselves so much for what happened to Asriel that they feel like martyrdom is necessary? Now, in the climax of Tory Fox's Underswap, we finally get to prove Chara wrong. It isn't our fault that the underground was in disarray. We just happened to be the biggest shakeup in a long time. It isn't Chara's fault that their village attacked Asriel, and neither is it the village's fault. Chara's fatal flaw in Underswap is believing that every wrongdoing must have a root in humanity, when everybody, monster or human, has their own complexities. They believe that they are the root of the underground's pain because they're human and in a childish way are carrying that pain out to get it over with. they have conditioned themselves to tunnel vision, stuck only seeing the bad in the world, and it's tearing them up as it apparently falls back on them. But people's complexities don't only cause the bad, they cause the good. That's why they're called complexities. They do not have a single facet. They can be anything. Just like the monsters you have encountered before, Chara can be whoever they want to be. They just have to unchain themselves from the train tracks they have built and view people as complex webs of life, good or bad, not just sin. Through the power of the souls of all of monster kind, all who you have given hope to, you have proven Chara wrong. You are a living example of the good. That doesn't mean you're always good. That doesn't mean Chara's always bad. That doesn't mean the entirety of monster kind is good or bad. Those complexities, those qualities and flaws are what it means to be a person. Monsters have them. The human has them. Humans have them. Chara has them. It is impossible to be without them. It is impossible to be without you. I would have never seen the worth of life. Without you, I would have never experienced a loving family. Without you, I wouldn't know what a hot meal for dinner felt like. Without you, I would have never understood love. Without you, I would not be myself. Without you, I would not be here today. Yet I stand here still. Without you. Chara has finally allowed themselves the grace of vulnerability. That's another piece of being, after all. Reflection is the only way of moving forward. They miss their siblings so much, but that does not warrant this. It can't. This isn't to say they acted out of selfishness. This isn't to say they purely acted out of dramatics. Chara, like Toriel, has but faced the consequences of brutal self-isolation, allowing their beliefs to fester inside of a personal echo chamber. Yet all it took was remembering who was truly important to them, what they were like, what they would have wanted. Everybody has someone who cares about them, and everybody has someone they care about. They care and are cared for a reason. And Chara was. Chara knows they were. And with that idea instilled, the barrier was destroyed.
Tory Fox is in a weird spot for me. For one, I'm not an avid Undertale Dothrun SoundCloud enthusiast like the other two here, but Tory just has something that connects me to it. Maybe it's the fact that it really feels like an Undertale from another universe, but it just had that Toby spark that I don't feel in other Underswap takes, not even in ones like TSUS. The other roll-swap AU that made me feel this way was Scramble Saga on Tumblr. Good one, check it out too. But I can't explain it. It really feels as, some would say, a Toby core, but you might say that? I don't know. Anyways, pick AU, pick OST, pick everything, to be honest.
I mentioned at the beginning of my segment what makes a good Undertale AU, and there's a lot of subjectivity with that because everyone has their own opinion on that. The underground is as big as you want it to be, after all. But Tory Fox Underswap comes pretty close to perfect by using two things: honesty and passion. I remember there was this message or tweet from Lex talking about the AU and how they always wanted to create the OST of an Underswap AU from when they were younger. And as someone who loves to create art and was part of this fandom since I was a little kid, I can relate to that very heavily, and you can see that from their past takes. I grew up following the old Mirror Swap account that they made back in the day, and then being awestruck at the amount of work and detail put into it, with like the sprites and the music. These cool ideas all made me fall in love. Underswap is a pretty special AU in that regard, because no two Underswap takes are the same, and I find that to be so cool. You get to see the pieces of the person making that take embedded into them, like their own personality, their own soul in that actual take, and that's so awesome. The Undertale SoundCloud community in general is so peak. There are so many talented musicians and artists who I was able to work with because of Undertale, and they all cook so hard. Yes, sometimes it's oops all megalos, which I don't mind that, of course. But other times it's full-blown OSTs like this, and they make me think and feel, and Nyamko's theme, Alphys and the Royal Guards, all Chara themes, and the concepts. Chara as Azrael is so good. All the tracks are so good. Because Lex is the GOAT! Is it perfect? No. I still think there's like a lot of other Undertale AUs that I like personally, just due to sentimentality or like other reasons. My favorite Undertale AU is Story Spin, and that has like a messy, really weird history that's not very like good in my opinion, but that's still my favorite just out of the memories that I have with it. The AU doesn't need to be perfect. It's still really good. Like what Marco Pierre White said, nothing is perfect, because perfect is a lot of little things done right. And I think this AU achieves that pretty well. But yeah, I just I love this community. I grew up with this community, and yeah, sometimes it's up and down and all around, but it's still in my heart, and this AU represents why I do. This is Lig out.
Tory Fox's Underswap has got to be my favorite Underswap take ever, or SoundCloud take period. I think that was probably obvious considering I put more passion into this one. It does everything right while still innovating with new rule switches that feel like they should have just been there from the beginning. It doesn't go over leaps and bounds to just make swaps work, like it doesn't worry about swapping first and characterization second. Tory Fox uses simple yet effective swaps so that full focus can be put on making the cast the best they can be, and it paid off. The last time I've been disinvested in a SoundCloud AU was another Median Jack Squared's Underfell project, which is for another day. And that was a long time ago for me, so there's some magic put into this shit, man. All credit goes to Lexi Mao and their team. They outdid themselves with this run. They're currently working on Dark Heart, the Deltarune equivalent. Not Soonpart. It isn't Soonpart. It's not Soonpart. Not it. I implore you to check it out. I implore you to check out all of their work. You'll find tons of personal favorites. When, not if, but when you listen to all of Tory Fox's Underswap, definitely read the descriptions along the way for each track. Most of them will hold relevant dialogue or narration for the scene at hand. For anybody new to Undertale SoundCloud, that's custom for most ambitious AUs. Let this be a training arc for you so that you're ready to discover more peak. I swear, finding new AUs or AU takes on SoundCloud feels like exploring this jungle or something. It's so fun. Tory Fox keeps innovating upon this. The take knows that it's fun. It gets so creative that it even understands its own nature as a creative work. It's aware that it's an Underswap take. It's aware that it's a SoundCloud AU, and it knows how people interact with it. It knows how listeners like to consume, and it knows that we want to binge everything about it. Absolutely everything. We will save the everything for next time. And with that, I have finally finished the Tory Fox video. And it's going to be a two-parter to boot. That's kinda, I didn't expect all that. I didn't want another long one, but it's another long one. God forbid a man's passionate about something. Jesus Lord. I implore you, go follow Lexi Mao. Follow the Tory Fox Disc 1 and Disc 2. Follow Darkheart. And subscribe to me. Subscribe if you so choose. Get notified when I upload stuff. I gotta thank y'all for the support. 5,000, dude. 5,000 is fucking mental. What do you mean? What do you mean? We're over 5,000. We're at like 5.3.5, dude. That's insane. Thank you guys. I want to do a special. I have one last Garden Warfare 2 episode recorded, but we didn't use streamer mode mod. And there's, of course, the hacker problem on the game keeps getting worse and worse. So I don't know whether or not to upload it. But honestly, I might just grow a pair and upload it. But subscribe for more. Join the Discord server, link in description. If you want me to read some fan mail, for funsies, no pressure, email's right there. Our info card, fan mail, no fan mail as of now, that's why it's not there. Subscribe, Discord server, check out Tory Fox and Lexi Mao. Banchen basement bind it. Bayonara, fellows.